Hi guys, today we're having a look at an indie game for a retro console, and it's a console that I don't normally buy games for, and that is the Game Boy Color. And my buddy Quang has made a game called Super Jetpack DX. So awesome, the packaging just looks brilliant, the whole thing about this is amazing. You might know Quang from the events because he brings a lot of his old really rare kind of consoles and tech to the events. He also runs Pocket Pixel Design, and I'll leave a link to that site in the description because that's where you can pre-order the game. If you want to get a copy of Super Jetpack DX after watching this, you only have until the 7th of Feb to do so. Now this is one of the carts from the first run, and he's doing a second run. I don't know if he's going to do any more, so if you want a copy, make sure you get your copy in the next week. Now yeah, super chuffed that Quang has made this, and we're going to have a look at the packaging and the cart and everything first, and then we're going to have a look at the game. So a quick look at the packaging first. Love the box art, it's made to a very high standard, really nice quality. It looks just as good as an original Game Boy Color game. Love the little homebrew Nintendo logo there. And on the back, a spoof Nintendo seal of quality and a couple of screenshots, one showing it running on a Game Boy Color and one on an original DMG Game Boy. You're lost in space on the furthest edge of the galaxy. Inside we have an equally well made colour manual showing details on the game, enemies, power-ups, the two control schemes and the in-game display. The cart itself looks great too, and it's a nice touch that it comes in a black cartridge, which back in the day would indicate that an original Game Boy game was able to take advantage of the Game Boy Color's increased colour palette in contrast to the standard grey carts. So onto the game. Super Jetpack DX is a reimagining of the classic Jetpac released for the Spectrum in 1983. This was developed by Ultimate Play the Game, who went on to become Rare. In it you control a jetpack equipped spaceman blasting around single screen stages trying to collect pieces of your ship and fuel it up before escaping the planet, all the while shooting attacking aliens. Jetpac was Quang's first interaction with a home computer, and that experience obviously stayed with him. In 1999 he discovered GBDK, the Game Boy Development Kit, which could be used to make homebrewed Game Boy games. Bung were running a competition to promote their Game Boy Exchanger, a flash cart for the Game Boy, so Quang decided to make a game and enter. That game was of course Jetpack DX. The game snagged second place and he was offered a job making Game Boy games. Fast forward to 2020, Quang decided to return to Jetpack DX, but give it some polish and most importantly a physical release. This is the result, Super Jetpack DX. This version has some new additions such as new weapons and layouts. So Super Jetpack DX has been 21 years in the making. Now a quick clarification and a thank you regarding the footage. I had a nightmare trying to record this game. I don't own a Game Boy player or a GameCube, so I tried recording through my Super Game Boy, but that just looked awful. Quang even dropped off a VGA modded Game Boy Color for me, but I had issues at my end recording that too. Thankfully Nick at RetroBreak kindly sent over some footage for me to use, captured via a Game Boy player, so a huge thank you to Nick, and please check out his channel RetroBreak, linked in the description. Despite my recording troubles, even on camera you can see the game looks absolutely superb on my IPS modded Game Boy Advance, Quang's modded Game Boy Color, or even on a stock DMG Game Boy. The purchase of a physical copy of Super Jetpack DX also comes with the ROM, so you can load it onto your EverDrive, and there is a ROM only option too. The first round of Jetpack DX carts came with a custom ROM, so when I start up the game I get a little message saying thank you on a retro tip, which is just awesome. Very impressed that Quang took the time to customise all of them, but just to clarify, this is not a feature of the second round of orders. You then get to select between dark mode or light mode. This essentially inverts the colours, which makes it much easier to play on a DMG Game Boy. When you get to the colourful menu screen, there are 3 difficulty levels: Fun, Mighty and R, which equate to easy, normal and hard. Harder difficulties have more enemies on screen and more levels, with Fun only having 10 stages. The Fun setting is great if you want to experience the game without much of a challenge, but you can ramp up the difficulty if you want one. Super Jetpack DX has very simple gameplay, but it's fun and challenging. In that respect, it's very much an arcade experience. Each level is contained within a single screen containing several platforms, and in each level you have to either build and then refuel your ship or just fuel it. To rebuild your ship, you just need to collect the ship pieces scattered around the screen and return them to the bottom. Once fully constructed, you fuel up your ship by collecting fuel, which drops down randomly from above. The remaining amount of fuel required is indicated by the meter at the top left. Also displayed at the top of the screen are your score, your remaining lives at the top right, and a meter for your laser energy, which can overheat if you use your weapon too much. At the bottom you can see which level you're currently on. A nice little touch is that when your little spaceman is at the very top of the screen, the top menu display moves to allow you to see the full screen. The game has 2 control schemes. Method A is my preferred control scheme. This has you use up and down on the D-pad to control the jetpack, up to thrust and down to hover, and then either A or B to shoot your laser. Method B is more akin to the original jetpack, using the D-pad to hover, with 1 button to thrust and 1 to shoot. With either control scheme you use the D-pad to move left and right, of course. As you jet around collecting your ship pieces and fuel, you're attacked by various different enemies. These not only look different but behave in different ways, some being more aggressive than others. The ships vary in appearance too, and some have some really cool sci-fi like designs. There are also several power-ups and collectibles that will drop into the levels. Power-ups include a spread shot, a back shot which fires both forward and backward, a drone, which is this little device that orbits around you dealing damage, and a shield. There are 2 power-ups that are detrimental too: Confusion, which makes your controls invert, meaning you move right when pressing left and vice versa, and Death, a skull power-up or perhaps power down, which instantly kills you. On a DMG Game Boy screen these are quite hard to differentiate, and even on a Game Boy Color or an advanced screen I would accidentally pick these up. There are several collectibles as well, like a turkey, a Game Boy and a treasure chest. These all award you a varying number of points. The game itself is very colourful and looks great for a Game Boy Color game. It manages to remain faithful to the Spectrum original while adding some welcome vibrancy. There are some nice effects too, like the animated meters at the top and the mist creeping across the planets. It plays very smoothly too, with responsive controls, and the screen can get quite hectic with enemies, especially at the higher difficulty. The music is fantastic. There are only a few tracks, but they all sound superb for the hardware. Again, the soundtrack harks back to the 8-bit days, sounding reminiscent of a Commodore 64 chiptune. Super Jetpack DX is a fun little game, and you're also buying a bit of history here. I thoroughly recommend grabbing a copy, and not just to support my friend Quang, but to add a unique physical game to your collection that's also great fun to play. And remember, you only have until the 7th to get your order in, so check out the link down below, and there's always the ROM only version if you fancy that instead. Thanks for watching.